Hello, everybody, and welcome to Man Enough Mondays. I am Justin Baldoni, where every single week, every Monday, we're going to be talking about what it means to be a man, how we can embrace that, and in turn, hopefully, how we can not just become better men, but better humans. Last week, we talked about our bodies, how we can keep our bodies in shape, and then because of our bodies, through our bodies, keep our minds right, especially during quarantine and isolation. But this week, it's all about our minds. Men are dealing with so many things. Humans are dealing with so many things: anxiety, depression, cabin fever. We got to figure out a way to get our minds right. And who better to join me than two of the most brilliant minds I know? We have John Kim, the angry therapist, New York Times bestselling author, and my friend, the master of meditation. He is the monk who's making wisdom go viral. My brother, Jay Shetty. Fellas, what's up?
What's up? How are you? Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Hey, Justin. It's good to be here, man. Grateful to be here.
Yeah.
Jay.
Can I just say real quick, I feel conned. I feel conned because you guys didn't tell me you guys were showing up with beards, and I can't grow facial hair. I feel like the ninth grader, at the party that he hopped the fence to get into now. I feel totally left out and very vulnerable watching you guys with full facial hair.
Dude, this is 3 hours, man.
This is 47 years. Right? 47 years, guys.
This is 6 weeks. 6 weeks.
Well, Jay, how are you able to grow that? Just being Asian, I figure you wouldn't, but I guess you can grow a beard like no other.
I don't know. I've just let it grow. So I've not trimmed it. I've not done anything to it. It's just growing. But now I think
it's perfectly manicured.
Dude, I haven't touched it. It's getting really dirty now, and I'm starting to smell food in it and stuff. And then my friend was telling me that it's actually bad to have a beard at this time because COVID can actually last longer in your beard. So I'm about to shave it tomorrow. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to shave it tomorrow.
Speaking of shaving, thank you, Braun, for sponsoring this episode. Ding, ding, ding. It's actually funny. I wish they would have sent this to me earlier because last week I asked Emily to cut my hair, to trim the back of my neck.
Ooh.
and it was a complete disaster.
I heard that. It was not my fault. He gave me the wrong instructions. Hi.
Hey, Emily, how's it going?
First of all, okay, hold on a second.
We want to see it.
Look at what. Okay, it was, first of all, she was supposed to just trim a little bit of my neck hair, and she gave me this full.
Oh, nice.
So that's not what you told me.
That is totally what I told her.
And the scissors weren't working.
And we didn't have this thing. I feel like this thing would have made it better.
Use it on your face.
Yeah.
Your face.
Okay.
Now you only look like a Greek god from the front.
Exactly. Good point.
Yeah. All right. Guys, today we're talking about how to get our minds right. And I want to just start by saying that I have been struggling. I'm finding it super hard to just wake up in the morning and get my ass out of bed. I'm curious, what are the things you guys are struggling with? Am I the only one that's eating breakfast for a late night snack, or what's going on?
So I can relate to that. I've been emotionally eating, and someone, who is very active in the fitness world and, CrossFitting for 10 years. I've just been ordering out every meal, and I got the tire around my waist, man. And, I could still see my penis in the shower, but barely, and it's making me feel it's making me feel like a lot of guilt, like a hypocrite, I'm on the internet talking about, how you should be moving and you should be getting connected to yourself through your body and fitness. And here I am on Grubhub, like it's Netflix. And God, and part of this is because we can't go out. And so, yesterday I had a couple donuts, and I found myself just kind of, feeling embarrassed and feeling shame, and which is all new to me. And but it's real. And so that I've been struggling with that. Just it's emotional eating. It's eating because I'm bored.
First of all, bro, thank you for sharing that. That's not easy. Thank you, man. Jay, what are you going with?
Yeah.
What's going on with you? What are you dealing with?
I was really struggling with, and this is a weird one because I don't think many people know that I even do this, but it was I ended up, I probably haven't played video games for 7 years. And when I heard that the quarantine started, the first thing I did was get myself a PlayStation. And I've been like, and when I say addicted, I mean, like, I thought, oh, I'm going to play, and I play sports games generally. And I thought, I'm going to be fine. But I literally feel like I've got addicted where like I've been playing games for hours every single day to the point that my wife's been like, what has happened to you? Because this isn't the you that I know. And it's hard for me too, because at the start I'm like, oh, I love sports and I'm missing sports and I'm convincing myself that it's okay. But then hours are going past and she's like, when you come out of the room after playing games, she goes, you look more tired than when you come back from a day of work. Like you just look so drained. And I'm feeling tired. And I've actually been feeling that a lot of the games have been numbing my brain a bit. Like I've been feeling a bit more, just feeling a bit more like less focused, less creative, like less inspired and enthused because I've just been playing games. Like I think a couple of weekends, I probably played for like 8 hours a day.
Hearing you say that, I feel like I can exhale. Because no, seriously, just hearing that you are struggling with like a version of a video game addiction helps me. Because like, I remember when quarantine started for me, and we'll get super personal, one of the things that I've actually talked about and have had an issue with throughout the course of my life, because it was introduced to me when I was 10, was pornography. And when quarantine hit, I remember like my brain going, I need that dopamine hit.
Yeah.
And it was like, what's happening? Like, I thought I had my handle on this, and it was really interesting. And I talked about it with my wife, and we've had great conversations, but the first place that we as men go is we feel like there's something wrong with us and that we're like alone, because the myth of masculinity is that we have to do this all alone. So hearing you say like, oh man, I've been playing video games on the weekends for 8 hours a day. I'm like, oh, hallelujah.
Yeah, and that was my coping mechanism, right? And I was feeling lazier and I was feeling more tired and I wouldn't feel good after it, right? It's kind of, I guess it's kind of a bit like watching pornography. It's like you never feel good about yourself after it, right? And so it's kind of like any sort of addiction. I think whether it's a food addiction or a junk food, whatever it is, like I think after any feeling of any addiction, you never walk out of that going, that was the best moment of my life.
Do you guys think that men have a more difficult time talking about stuff like this? So whether it's video games or emotional eating or, like you mentioned in the past, pornography, because, I think because we don't, and, as humans, we could be pressure cookers, it just compounds the shame, which then makes us want to cope more. And then there's like this vicious loop happening,
Why does it make me feel so much better as a man when I can hear your stories?
It makes us feel better because it validates us. It gets us to humanize ourselves, I think, I'm all about either connecting to self or disconnecting. And if you are not honest with self, you're disconnecting. If you, I think everything starts with acceptance. So if I tell myself verbally and as to you guys as a witness that I'm emotionally eating, there's like a huge load off, now I could be like, all right, it's out here instead of in here. And I think there could be less internalization.
Jay, I got a question for you, man. So is this a brand new thing for you? Like, because for since we've known each other, right? I mean, by the way, this is kind of cool for us because the first time we got connected was after you saw Man Enough, right?
Yeah, that was it. I saw your incredible TED Talk, which if everyone hasn't seen, you should 100% go and see that. We talked about it a lot on the podcast. It's one of the best. And I thought, wow, this is really cool. Like, really opening up and I was like, wow, he's being so vulnerable and he's tackling such an important issue. And it's also a sensitive issue, which would attract a lot of judgment and hate as well. And then on top of that, I saw you launch the first episode of Man Enough. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like men getting together, having really human, awesome conversations. And it almost reminded me of the monastery. To be sitting here with you today doing this, I mean, for me, it's a full 360. I'm so grateful, man.
It's the coolest thing, man. You have been helping so many people, billions of views. Did this come up? Did this surprise you, this thing that you just told me about the video game thing and like seeing your mind? Because like you've been working out your mind forever.
Yeah. And I think all of us in our different ways and work, and I know me and Justin, we talk about this, and John, I'd love to hear yours. Like I pride myself on being a productive, effective, focused person. I love being creative. I pride myself on the fact that I do what I love every day and I'm passionate about it. And then all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, I'm trying to finish work early, helping people so that I can go and play video games. Like, what's going on here? Like, that feels really messed up because it's everything against service. Like me playing a video game doesn't serve anyone. And I'm like, like, how is this helping the world? How is this, and so it hit me, especially early on, because I kind of thought I could control it. And I thought I was bigger than it. And when you feel bigger than your addiction, you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna play for an hour a day. It's gonna be fine. I'm gonna get entertainment. It's great. And then you're like, wow, I'm spending 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 8 hours. And then my wife, who like is very amazing and just lets me have freedom to do what I do. And she's like, are you all right? Like, I think you've been playing for a long time. And she never like would call me out on something unless it was really, she saw it as a serious thing. And it definitely shocked me. And it also shocked me because I started to realize just how much it was affecting every other part of my life. I'm trying to teach people how to focus and meditate, but actually I'm, wasting all this time.
But ironically, it's actually made you the most approachable, just hearing that from you. So John, my question is, so pretend like both Jay and I are sitting in your, obviously at a physical distancing acceptable distance. And we're sitting with you right now, and you're our therapist. Give us some free therapy here.
Well, first, no judgment, right? We all cope in different ways, but I would be curious on following the string down to, why you're doing that and where it's coming from. I think any kind of coping is a byproduct of something else that's happening underneath, right? There's something that is, whether it is loneliness, isolation, or maybe it's depression, anxiety, whatever it is, it's a form of coping. And then the byproduct is food, porn, addiction, all of those things, right? It's a way of running away from self, I think.
And what's so interesting is I feel like this virus and with this situation, for all of us, it has humanized everybody. Everybody for a second is kind of brought to their knees in their own ways, even though we know that this virus affects different classes and groups disproportionately. And it's really a chance, and Jay, I know you've been talking about this as well, to go in, right? And I would even say for me, like just being empathic, feeling all the pain happening in the world and feeling the suffering is enough to trigger some shit, which for me is like, it's okay to not be okay. Do you guys both feel that way? Like, it's okay, right?
Yeah, totally. Like a lot of it also digs up what you did to cope as a child. Like you're saying, it's okay because that was my coping mechanism. And I can't judge myself for that coping mechanism now because that got me to where I am today, where I feel a bit more like I'm moving out of it. Whereas if I didn't do that, maybe I would have, found something else.
Yeah, I think that there's something almost spiritual about what's happening in that I feel like you're either going to come out of this hardened or it's going to soften you or harden you. At the end of the day, like that's what I think it's going to do. And I think if you don't look inward, if you are a reaction, if you are blaming and, you have the to me victim mindset, you're going to come out of this hardened. You're going to come out of this angry with an iron fist. And I think that if you actually take this opportunity to look inward, and also this is putting a black light on everyone's relationship, right? So if you're actually able to look at what comes up, and sit with it, then you're going to soften. And by soften, I don't mean weak. I mean, you're going to grow. You're going to evolve more from this whole thing.
First of all, I love you both. I could talk to you guys all day long. I want to just real quickly just say for either of you, if you ever feel like texting me before you're going to order some crappy food or before you're going to go play video games, like I'm going to start a group text with the three of us because I think that would be helpful for me. And if I have something pop up, I'm going to bother you guys. I think that the one thing missing for all of us men, especially because of how we were socialized, is that we don't reach out to other men when we're struggling, right? Yeah, so Jay, like you talk to your wife about it. John, you talk to your wife about it. And I talk to my wife about it. But the act of like telling my buddies is like infinitely more difficult. It's a heavier weight for me to carry. I just want to say, like, I'm gonna text you guys. So
I love it, man.
I think you hit something that's really important is that like us in this space, we're able to talk about this and obviously we're doing it for something that's greater than us, right? And we're waving a flag and we're trying to be examples. But, off camera, I know in my life, a lot of my guy friends, it's all locker rooms and it's all people that are shredded and into fitness and stuff. And if I was to say something, they love me, but they would also make fun of me, right? It wouldn't land the same way as it does in this room.
Hopefully, John, like your buddies will watch this and then maybe not make fun of you. Because at the end of the day, like they're dealing with the same things. And that's the main thing is like, they're dealing with the same things all of our friends are. It's just I feel grateful that we're in a situation where we're modeling the conversation. Okay, quickly, let's dive into, if you are a man or woman watching this right now, what are 3 things that people can do every single morning to start their day right that can get their mind in the right place?
3 things in the morning, right?
What are 3 things in the morning, and then 3 things we can do to improve our mental health throughout the day? And then let's say 3 things before bed.
This is literally what I had to do to get me out of the loop, to stop playing video games for 8 hours and then down to 4 and down to 2. And, to just start cutting the time down. It's an acronym called TIME, and finding time in the day. And the TIME stands for these 4 things. The first thing is thankfulness. I think for me, feeling gratitude. And when I say feel gratitude, I don't just mean to feel it and feel thankful. I mean like to actually share it with someone. Just like you're saying that it's so easy maybe to thank your wife or maybe thank your kids, but it's hard to thank a bro as well, because we're like, oh, that's not a very guy thing to do. But actually reaching out and thanking you and saying, hey, Justin, thanks for this chat we just had. It really helped me get more vulnerable. And now that's going to help me call my other guy friends and have that conversation. So not just feeling gratitude, but actually taking a step to do something about it. It could be thanks to your mom or your dad or a friend, whatever it is. Like write a note, send a voice note, send a video. Something practical is really good. The second thing is finding some inspiration every day. So the I stands for inspiration. For me, that could mean reading an inspirational quote. It could mean reading a passage of a book. And this is what I mean. Like right now, there's a lot of pressure to be like, finish the book right now, finish the thing right now. I'm like, forget finishing. Just read one word or one quote or one paragraph. Like that's enough. Yeah. And you need that boost every day, and especially in the morning. M stands for meditation. I'm a big proponent of meditation because there's a beautiful Tibetan Buddhist teaching that says what movement does for the body, stillness does for the mind. And I think that sums up so beautifully why we all need stillness. And now's a good time to find it. And the last one, E, stands for exercise, movement. And, for my wife, that means dancing. And I have to owe a lot to my wife, that I would not be eating healthy or working out during this time if she didn't motivate me. So my physical health is highly dependent on my wife. And I have to just give her the credit for it, because if it wasn't for her, I'd be eating out every day and I'd probably be not working out. And because of her, we do a virtual workout together every single morning. And that's really what's helped me out. And luckily she cooks amazing vegan food every day. So I don't have an issue of eating out, but all of that is dependent on her. And so, yeah, those are my 4 things: thankfulness, inspiration, meditation, and exercise. And I think doing them whenever you can in your day, it's going to keep your mind and body just activated.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. John, what you got?
For me, the first thing is, most of us live in small spaces, right? We don't have our own, fitness gyms and mansions and Olympic-sized swimming pools. So if you have to take your life and put it into your apartment or your small space, I think it's important to section off each thing and only do that there. So behind me is a yoga mat and 2 barbells. That's my gym, and I only work out there. Even if I had a weights in the basement, I check in with my body, and if for some reason this is where I work out, I make sure I'm only going there. So you're training your brain that is your gym. The kitchen is where I make my cappuccinos, where I do my Zoom calls, where I do, some social stuff. The living room, it's not a couch and TV. It's a movie theater room, meaning I get to watch one thing, right? Or else my entire life is just going to be a bag of potato chips and Netflix. So, and then my balcony is where I actually watch the sunset. I don't know how to meditate. It's always been a struggle for me, but just being outside and stilling my mind, I do it in the balcony. So I think sectioning off mentally, I think that's very helpful. So structuring off your apartment or your living space. I mean, especially in New York, where people are living like sardines and 400 square feet, it could just be like no boundaries and just a giant couch. That's one thing. The second thing is I'm all about high and low frequencies. I'm all about my states. I think one of the things that gets us into fight or flight is subtle panic. So when we are thinking about the uncertainty, our business is going down, what's going to happen, you start to get in a fight or flight state, and then suddenly we're in protection mode because that's our biology. That's a very low frequency. And I think if you drop into your states and make sure that you do things like what Jay was saying, gratitude and other higher frequency states, then being aware of that and doing that as a practice will keep you on a higher frequency. And I think the third is relationships right now are under a lot of strain, right? Especially, you're hearing couples breaking up. It's really crazy in the relationship world. And so my note there is for the rest of the pandemic, make a promise to yourself to try to understand before trying to be understood. Just that one thing. Just try to understand before trying to be understood, and you could change the dynamic of every relationship, and you could come out of this actually with more wisdom and growth if you just do that one thing daily.
I so selfishly love this show because I get to take all of this wisdom and apply it to my hot mess of a life also. The only thing that I want to add for my things, because I actually, mine's a combination of both of yours, is something physical that's been helping me. And I know you've both heard me talk about this, is cold exposure. Making myself get into an uncomfortable situation in an already uncomfortable situation like quarantine has been so transformative for me. Like, even if those cravings and those urges pop up, or if I'm feeling that anxiety, getting in there, forcing myself to breathe and taking that cold shower, which, because your body's like, why? You have hot water. Why would you do that? Has been so amazing to keep me going. And so that's the only thing that I want to add to both of your brilliant things is, if you're like me and you need something physical as well, like, take a cold shower, take a few deep breaths, jump in the cold shower, feel the cold on your body. It'll remind you that you're alive, and hopefully you'll have gratitude, which is the beginning of it all anyways. And anyway, so I just wanted to add that piece. Jay, do you mind? And John, are you down for us to maybe try to do a meditation to end this thing out?
Absolutely. And you know what? I tried the cold shower, and because I know that people talk about it, my balls come up into my mouth. Like, I can't do it. I don't know. How long have you been doing this? Because the whole ice bath thing it's for about 20 seconds, and then you literally, I just got to get out. But how long can you go in there for?
But here's the thing, man, is I started doing it because I was afraid of it. And in my life, I try to go after the things I'm scared of. This started out by me saying, like, I'm afraid. So, and I hate cold water. Can my mind conquer it? In fact, you know what, Jay, let's do the meditation. I will jump into the ice bath, and I'm going to jump into the ice bath. And then, because let me tell you why, because I don't want to do it right now. The last thing I want to do is the ice bath.
Meditation will get you through it.
So the whole thing about ice baths is the same as cold showers, is you got to breathe through them.
Yeah.
I don't like doing it. I'm not going to lie. I hate doing it. So Jay's meditation is going to help me. I'm going to use the fact that I have one of the greatest minds of meditators on the planet. That I'm going to take advantage, because I wanted to do this today, but I did it last night and I didn't want to do it today because it was so painful. So Jay, hold on. Let's do this.
Yeah. And all I'd say to you is, Justin, you adapt your breath for what you feel you need while you're in there.
This is 38 degrees. All right, here we go.
And everyone apart from Justin, just find a physical space of calm, balance, comfort, and ease. Whenever your mind wanders to any distraction or pain, just gently and softly bring it back to calm, balance, ease, stillness, and peace. Place your left palm on your stomach and breathe in and feel your stomach come out. And breathe out and feel your stomach go in. Breathe in and feel your stomach go out. And breathe out and feel your stomach go in. Breathe in for a count of 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 2 and breathe out for 1, 2, 3, 4. So breathe in for a count of 4 in your own time, at your own pace. Hold for 2 and breathe out for 4. Do that a couple more times, breathing in for a count of 4. Hold for 2 and breathe out for 4. Bringing your awareness to your natural breathing pattern. And I want to take us a step into a visualization here, where I want you to visualize an incredible memory of love and joy in your life. It could be a moment with your parents, it could be a moment with your kids, your partner, your family, whatever it is. But I want you to visualize a moment of joy, happiness, and love. and visualize what can you see in this space? Who are the people there? What does the space look like? What surrounds you? What can you hear? What are the sounds that are here in this space? Where are you? Are you inside or outside? Are you standing or sitting? Bring this memory to life and step into it. And relive the memory and experience that love, that joy, that happiness. And repeat after me. And it can be in your mind. I am grateful for. And then fill in the blanks. Relive this memory of joy, of happiness, of love. And as you breathe in all of that positive, uplifting energy. And as you breathe out, let go of any of that toxic, negative energy. And when you're ready, in your own time, at your own pace, you can gently open your eyes and get out of the tub.
Whoa, that was awesome, man.
I don't know if it helped but for you, because you're in a very specific situation. But for everyone else, hopefully it was a quick one. It was a quick one.
Jay, that helped me so much, man.
Oh, good. I'm glad, man. Thank you. I'm glad it worked.
That was incredible.
Could you find a memory?
I did. It was when we surprised my dad with, when Maya was born. My mom and sister were at a wedding. And we told my dad, hey, can you come over to the house? I need you to get us something. And when he came over, we introduced him to Maya.
Oh,
and
wow.
He was so happy. And it just popped into my head. And it was so nice to go there while being in freezing water.
Yeah.
Wow. Like,
and I think we should just
calm me down.
I think we should all just give you a massive round of applause that you were just in a freezing hot tub for like 2 minutes or maybe a bit more. But I think like literally everyone, that is not easy. Like, it is not easy.
Oh man, I'm so grateful that I took advantage of that. All right, I'm gonna go back inside. John, what did you experience?
So my memory, and thank you for the meditation, Jay. The visual, I'm a visual person as a writer, and that really is helpful. I went into the 80s, and I've never told anyone this, is I feel nervous as a guy talking about this, but so I'm Korean, and Korean people, they put these little wooden spoons in your ears to clean out the ear thing. It looks really painful, but it actually feels amazing. And my dad wasn't around much. He worked a lot. He was also an alcoholic. And the few memories I have of me engaging with him was I was probably about 10, and I would put my head in his lap, and he would take out the ear gug with this little wooden spoon. And if you move, it's dangerous. But I remember as a 10-year-old trusting him completely, and also feeling so much peace in his lap. And just me being a new father.
That's amazing, man. That's incredible. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so I don't know. That's where I went, man. I went back to the DeLorean, 1985, I think it was. And,
wow.
Getting my ear gunk out was from my dad.
I feel it's so interesting that, John, both you and I had memories of our dads.
Yeah. Maybe subconsciously, because we're talking about men, maybe subconsciously because I'm now a father, all the stuff going on underneath,
There's so many studies that show us that what you're feeling in your mind, your body is also chemically and biologically experiencing. So when you put on a virtual reality headset and you think you're 80 feet up above in the air on a mountain and you look down, your body will feel close enough the same experience of fear that you feel when you're actually standing on a cliff. So I'm talking about, how do we make that positive? How do we go, wait, when I relive this memory, I'm also feeling that joy and happiness to the same degree I felt it at that time. So right now you can't go outside your home, but your mind can transport you anywhere you want. So whether you want to go sit on a beach, or you want to go sit near a river, or you want to go and revisit your family, it's a great tool to actually use it to relive the emotions and release those chemicals in your body and mind to actually feel that again. So I personally love doing it.
Fellas, this has been amazing. I got to say, I feel charged. Like, I feel charged. I feel like my mind feels better. I feel like I can go be a better husband and a father thanks to this conversation with both of you. So with that, I just want to end this whole thing by asking you both, like, what do you have coming out? What's going on? Where can people see you? Where can people follow you?
First, I want to say, Justin, thank you. You know, I came into this feeling intimidated. You know, I don't have millions of followers. I appreciate that. And I applaud the work you're doing, and anything I can do to help you wave that flag to get men to undefine themselves, I will definitely do.
Yeah. Hold up the name of your book. Hold up your book.
Oh. I didn't want to jump on the fuck train, but the truth was I used to be miserable. And so that's what it's called. I used to be a miserable fuck. I started running Zoom groups, and I call it The Lab. And it's been really amazing to use technology in a wellness space. So it's become kind of like ClassPass, where people can jump in and do live groups that are rotating every day. And so I've just been geeking out at using technology as a therapeutic tool.
And Jay, where can we find you, and what do you got coming up?
Obviously, find me on Instagram, but the podcast, which we did an episode for, I mean, the podcast is like a big heart and soul space for me, because I get to have these really meaningful, long conversations with everyone I know and love. So it's On Purpose with Jay Shetty. Just, come and find me there. I think that's one of my favorite things I'm doing. And if anyone liked the meditation, we have the 20 days of meditation, but we're on day 12 right now. So 8 days left of this round 2 that we're doing at the moment.
And then finally, if you are somebody out there who is struggling, who's dealing with anxiety or depression, or even suicidal thoughts, there is help. There are hotlines for you. And just remember that you are not alone. And that if you've learned anything from this conversation with John and Jay and myself, it's that all of us, no matter how successful we are, no matter if we are a licensed therapist or a meditative wisdom guru to millions of people, all of us are struggling. Every single one of us. All those people you're following on Instagram, all those perfect bodies and perfect lives, all of us are dealing with something. So just remember, you are not alone. You are loved. And you're not just man enough. You're enough. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Jay,
Thank
John,
you,
I love you guys so much.
Thank you.